We are live. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I've missed like so many lives. But okay, we're gonna wait for some people to start joining. Hello. So today we're going to be talking about manifesting our specific people. So we've been getting so much movement, and I actually created a playlist in right under my bio with self-concept affirmations that people have been using that's been getting them movement with their specific person. So today I wanted to talk about when you're manifesting your specific person and you're working on your self concept, you're doing the affirmations, but nothing is showing up in the 3D. So I know if you're affirming and you're thinking like, okay, well, that person, their specific person is here and they haven't even been doing this as long as I have. What's up with that? Also, so I just want to start by mentioning that there is always movement, right? Because if you are repeatedly telling your subconscious this new statement, whether I am, I have, it's normal for this thing, I expect this thing, because your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between something that you're imagining versus something that's real. So it's up to you to consciously choose how you are perceiving the 3D. For example, you can look at the 3D and think like I'm doing something wrong since there's no movement or it's taking too long, or you can know that your thoughts are creating, and as you persist, there is movement. Your specific person is thinking about you. They're picking up on those thoughts. And we see it all the time in the comments where someone's specific person reaches out after months of no contact and they say like, I've been thinking about you nonstop and I wanted to say like, I'm sorry for the way that things were. But guess what? That person had zero evidence in the 3D. But as they were working on their self-concept, reprogramming their subconscious mind, which takes repetition, and also the feeling of realness. So a lot of people get confused with feeling it real and what that means. They think like, I'm in a happy committed relationship with my specific person, and that they have to feel this like excitement. You can, but it's not something that's forced. But when you say that statement as if it's true, as if that's your current reality, that's literally assuming the state of the version of you who is in that relationship. Because if that's what you are assuming, if that's what you're telling your subconscious mind, it doesn't know that that hasn't manifested out there, because what's currently manifesting is your current dominant thoughts and assumptions about yourself and also about that person. So you could have a good self-concept about yourself. You can think like, yeah, like I deserve love, and yeah, I've been asked out before by people, and I'm like a good person, so I don't get it. Why did this person choose someone else? It could be a combination of multiple things. It could be something from childhood, it could be abandonment, it could be even from a different relationship where you might have a good self-concept of yourself, but when it comes to love, what you expect are your assumptions that you are going to be chosen, that you are going to be treated well, that you are safe to trust the person who is telling you that they love you. Or do you kind of question, what? Like, why is this person acting this way towards me? Are you changing your self-concept in relation to that person's actions, whether they're giving you that attention, whether they are giving you that contact? Because another thing I see too is when people start getting a movement with their specific person. For example, the specific person starts spending more time with them, but maybe they're a little bit in and out, they're a little bit hot and cold. If you don't remember anything else from today, remember that everything out there is conforming to what you are persisting in within, with the thoughts, with what you're choosing to focus on. So it's up to you to place that positive assumption without depending on the 3D, because if that's reflecting your old thoughts, why are you going to go backwards? Why are you going to look at that and say, oh, actually that's my reality? It doesn't make sense, right? So that's why we say to persist, because what's out there comes after what you create within with your current self-concept. So someone asked SP, SP is moving to Japan in a few weeks. How to manifest commitment and relationship with me? Okay, first, let's ask ourselves, what is the current situation? How am I identifying as the current version of me? And how am I identifying in relation to this person? So, for example, do I see myself as someone who will be prioritized? Do I assume that I'm respected, that my needs matter, which includes love, which includes that commitment? Do I assume that I'm treated well and that everything is working out for me, especially in love? Or do you have a history of not being chosen or prioritized in the past? Or maybe even a pattern of people moving far away, or just abandoning you and like not being there for you. So in your current self-concept, do you assume that you will be shown up for, that you will be taken care of, and that your needs will be heard and respected? Because that's the version of you who is in the committed relationship with your SP. Those are the assumptions that person has. So your job is to affirm that is who you are now, and you don't have to feel it real. If you can imagine that is your current reality, saying those affirmations as if it's true in this moment, that's what manifests, versus affirming because you're trying to get something where you don't have that and you're coming from lack. So I recommend that for your self-concept. And also specifically with this person, what is the story that you have? What are the current assumptions that you hold about your relationship with this person? Like, do you hold positive assumptions that they will happily prioritize you, that they will always include you in their life, that you are like too important to lose for them, that you will always be like a part of this person's journey? Do you have those assumptions about them? If not, then again, you can affirm, you can visualize, you can script, which is just writing it out, basically. You can also record yourself saying those affirmations and play them on a loop, whether you're sleeping, whether you're washing dishes, or just doing anything really. But your job is to think from the perspective of experiencing what you want right now, as if it's true right now. Because again, I'm going to say this again, repetition, so that this gets in your minds, that your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It's going to manifest from what you continue to tell it. So yeah, that's happening out there, but you can tell your subconscious a different story. Tell it the story that you want to create and persist in that story. I don't care if that person's leaving tomorrow. Circumstances do not matter. Time does not matter. You are creating from now, from the present. So right now, think like the version of you who is in that relationship. Continue to dominantly assume that state, meaning think like that version of you. And you don't need to do this obsessively. You don't need to set a timer every 10 minutes to do this. I don't think anyone does that, but I just wanted to put that out there. But whenever you think of the situation, whether you're, let's say you're making dinner, you can think like, wow, like, I'm so happy that I'm in this relationship with my person, and you get to decide if you want to live with them there, if you want them to stay here, and just think like, oh, I'm so happy I'm living with my person now in Japan, or I don't know, California, for example, and continue in that. Think as if it's true and affirm it in a way that just feels natural. Like, oh, it's so normal for me to be prioritized by my person. Like, oh yeah, this happens all the time. Okay, cool. So yes, you do want to live with them in Japan. So yes, keep doing that. Keep doing that repetition, right? If you have trouble with that feeling of realness, some people do. If they have a lot of resistance or a negative old story, that's fine. Just continue repeating that, because your subconscious also learns by repetition. So yes, just assume the state of experiencing what you want as if it's true, as if it's real, natural, and that has to manifest. So I hope that helps. Mitski, I don't know who that is. So dreams with SP. So as much as you like someone in the past, you never dreamed of them. So dreams, they don't have any meaning unless you put a meaning on them. So again, you could put a positive assumption to those dreams. You can affirm every time I dream of my specific person, they dream of me. And again, it's just your brain processing your memories, your experiences. So it's really up to you. But no, the dreams don't have like any significant meaning themselves. But you can affirm that your person dreams of you too. So Jenna has a Birds Before Land. You keep dreaming of your specific person, seeing the model of their car, seeing people like him, seeing his name. Oh my god. Yeah, that happens a lot, because it's like your subconscious mind is projecting this out into your reality, and this is something that you are creating, you are manifesting into your life. And as you continue to persist in whichever manifesting technique you're using, whether that's scripting, whether that's visualizing, affirming, then that just means your manifestation is on the way. But that's really exciting, and that just shows how powerful you are, that you keep seeing those things. So someone commented, You just, wait, okay. So your SP blocked you, but you just found out yesterday that they unblocked you after 2 weeks of See? See, I told you. Well, congratulations. That's so exciting. See, circumstances don't matter. Like, literally, with one specific person, I've been blocked. Like, or actually, was I blocked? Or did I block someone? I don't remember. Well, okay, whatever. So, this is a perfect example of circumstances do not matter. So, I don't know what you are affirming, whether that's you're in a relationship or, but whatever it is, those thoughts are getting pushed out to that person's subconscious mind. And so, as you work on yourself, so let's say you're affirming, I'm desired 10 times more by whoever I desire. I always get the person I'm attracted to. Like, I'm always chosen. I'm unforgettable. That's a really good one if you're scared about no contact. Keep telling yourself, I'm unforgettable. I'm irreplaceable. I am valuable, and I am valuable to this person. So, okay. Hot and cold results. I'm happy you brought that up because that happens to quite a few people. So it's okay, don't worry, don't think that you're doing anything wrong. That's still like that old version kind of manifesting. So again, it's just a matter of persisting. And also, again, I'm going to mention that your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. So when that person leaves you undelivered, are you thinking about the old version of them? Like, what's your initial reaction? Like, are you kind of anticipating that they're going to leave you undelivered because they've done it before, right? Because that could be recreating itself. Versus, can you assume, like, this person is so excited to talk to me? Like, I'm so grateful how this person always gets back to me as soon as possible. Like, oh, they're just watching a movie or they're with their friends or something. So you can affirm that also, like, oh, my person always contacts me at their earliest convenience. And also affirm that you are always prioritized too. Yeah. So the hot and cold, again, it's still, it's like those old thoughts still kind of manifesting a little bit. So this is up to you to persist in your self-concept. And yeah, especially if you have the old story, like, it's okay. Like, give yourself the time to see this version as just the new version, as if that version is just like dead. So just think that, again, for self-concept, I would recommend, like, I am always prioritized, like, I am valuable, like, I'm amazing to talk to. My person can never get enough of me. They always want to talk to me. Actually, my specific person always reaches out to me first because they just think everything I say and do is... What was that? Was that a bug? Sorry, I got distracted. Okay, I was saying everything... No. Okay, my specific person always reaches out to me first because they are all up in my business. They are always pursuing me. They always want to spend time with me because I'm their favorite person. I'm the love of their life. And I make their day better just by being in it. Right? That's what you want to experience, right? And you can create that. You totally can create that. Because I don't know if you've ever had that experience where people you don't want, they're just like texting you, like trying to see you, and you're just like, oh, whatever. Like, they're so obsessed with me, but it's that assumption that they're like super into you, right? But I know sometimes when it's the person that we really like, that's when our limiting beliefs come in about, maybe not being good enough, not being interesting enough. Like, do you assume that you are just a naturally very interesting, entertaining person? It could be that. Um, So yeah, I would affirm like this person is just so fascinated by everything that I have to say. We have amazing conversations together. Like our connection's so strong. Like we I think a good one is my specific person and I have infinite conversations. Like literally the with the specific person I'm like dealing with right now, something that I like a solid assumption I have is whenever we talk on the phone, we talk for hours. And I literally, this is the only person I've had a 6 hour phone call with. And here's the thing, I hate long phone calls, and so does that person. But I manifested that. I created that with each other. Like we're the exception, and we could just chat all day, all night long. So um so yeah, that's just like an assumption that I've held, and then that like I just have that with that one person. So if you want that, you could totally create that with that person, right? And just think like oh, like I'm really fun and entertaining, I'm always interesting to this person, so yeah, they're always trying to talk to me. So yeah, and look at, like, you're already getting so much movement. So something you could do to help this manifest faster is like look at the good messages, like laser focus in on what's going right, because it's normal for the brain to think about like, oh, they took longer to respond, right? Looking for something to go wrong. But it's just a matter of being a conscious creator and focusing and thinking like, look at this person message me, like they can't stay away from me. Oh, they're so into me. Right, and just make a big deal out of the message, even if it was just, oh, hi, how are you? Because again, your subconscious will be like, oh, this person sends us lots of messages. They're really obsessed with us. Okay, that'll continue to manifest. So that's my tip when it comes to manifesting more communication. So again, anything you want to manifest with your specific person, it's about thinking as if that is a real experience for you in the present, right now. So, for example, when you think about a person and they end up contacting you, you're bringing that person to your awareness and like feeling the realness of that person's presence as if they're with you. You're like thinking about the person, thinking about their name, thinking about what they're like. Maybe you're thinking about a time when you two hung out, and then you go about your day and that person ends up contacting you. Why does that happen so fast? And then why is it so difficult to manifest communication, for example, being left undelivered, being left on no contact for months? It's because you're in the state of being ignored, feeling like you're not important, thinking that you're just not this person's priority, that they're mad at you, blah blah blah. So that's a manifest. That's a manifest versus that other person, like you don't have a negative story about them. So if you're visualizing that person when they pop up in your mind, you don't have a negative story. That's why it manifests very easily, because in that moment it's as if that person is right there in your awareness. It's that feeling of like naturalness, realness. That's what we mean by that feeling it real that you hear a lot. Oh yeah, so yeah, as long as you keep persisting in your self concept and and just focusing on the new story of that person. So some people you can revise if you'd like. Um, you don't have to. You can just focus on the new story, and if for anyone who has trouble letting go of the old story, for example, if you have years of history with that person, you can say to yourself, yeah, that happened up until now, and now blah blah blah, just like affirm for the new story. Okay, so been feeling really natural about manifesting SP the past few days. That's good. And then Anto, I see your message. I'll get to you after. How to speed up seeing movement in 3D. I feel like this is one of the most commonly asked questions. I wish I could tell you 3 days. You know, you can manifest that in 17 minutes. I believe that create you can create a rule that, for example, every time I say an affirmation, it's like saying it 100 times for me, or like my affirmations always manifest. You can do that because if that's an assumption that you have, then guess what? It's gonna manifest. So, to answer your question, since your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined, if you shift your focus to thinking as if there is movement, that's how you get movement. Because if you're noticing the lack of movement in the 3D, that means you're currently in the state of having no movement. So there's like nothing going on out there. It's a dry desert. You say there's an ocean, right? Oh my God, there's so much going on. That's what you impress on your subconscious mind. Because it's that little shift into the version of you who is getting movement. Because think about it. The version of you who has what you want, are they thinking like, oh, how could I speed this up? How could there be more movement? No, there just is movement. And that's when you get to that point where you can like focus on other things because you're so confident in that assumption that you have what it is that you desire. So yeah, you can create an assumption that like, oh, you manifest. Actually, you are manifesting instantly, even if it's not showing up right away. Because things need time to conform out there in the 3D. For example, your specific person needs to like physically pick up their phone and like dial your number. Or they have to like go drive to your house, right? Like there are things that need to happen out there. But if so when you say speed up seeing movement in the 3D, that's like thinking like the version of you who doesn't quite have what you want. Right, so that's kind of like going backwards, because if we're supposed to be living in the end as if we already have what we want, we're just going to assume it's done. That's the assumption, that it's finished, right? That creation is finished, the manifestation is complete, and that there's nothing else you have to do. So right now, it kind of sounds like you might be in the state of manifesting like slow movement, or kind of manifesting and waiting, kind of like a waiting period, like I'm waiting for my manifestation to happen, but you're on the way. Like you're almost there. So it's just taking that little step forward and understanding that even though nothing is technically showing up, nothing's materialized that is going to manifest, as long as I keep telling my subconscious mind what I want as if it's true in this moment. So, for example, I'm in a committed relationship with my specific person. I'm going to think that instead of movement, I'm going to assume my person is reaching out to me right now. My person is spending time with me. I always get to see my specific person. So right now you're in like that in between, kind of waiting for the full manifestation. So again, live in the end, think as if it's already here, and that's how that will manifest. I don't do tarot readings anymore. I mean, I can, but I like to focus on coaching now. Since, I mean, tarot, it's just reflecting your subconscious thoughts. So it's a tool that you could use. But I just feel like I would, just my priority is coaching right now. So someone said your SP messages a few days ago, but then stopped answering. So once the moment that you notice they stopped answering, I want you to ask yourself, what thought train did you take? Did you take the train of, oh my gosh, they're ghosting me again? They're doing that thing where they're hot and cold again. What if they're talking to someone else, right? Those are the kinds of thoughts that can happen if you're anxious about that communication. Or did you think that, oh, they don't want to talk to me anymore? Or did you think that you did anything wrong? It's okay. It's okay if you did. But it's good to just be aware of where your thoughts went. Because, okay, let's live in the end. If you're in a relationship with the person and you stop responding, or they stop responding, you're going to assume that they're going to reach out to you as soon as possible, right? Because you know that this person values you, they respect you, and you're in that relationship with that person. So yeah, you might think like, oh, I hope they're okay, but I'm in a relationship with this person and I know that they're going to communicate with me. So again, your job is to think as if you are experiencing what you want right now, even if it's not happening out there in the 3D, in reality. Because if you're in that state of, oh, I'm always prioritized, I'm important to my person, I know that my person loves me 10 times as much as I love them, you're going to get that communication. That's going to come very naturally. And you're not going to have to ask, you're not going to have to beg, because the person who has to be like, hey, like, why did you stop responding? That's the version of you who is ignored, rejected, disrespected. Okay, good. So you just thought that they were busy with work and nervous of talking to you. Okay, so why don't we spin this? Let's spin the wheel in your favor. Oh, why did this fall? Let's spin the wheel in your favor. So, you want that contact, right? I'm assuming a relationship, maybe marriage, I don't know. You can assume that this person is so excited to talk to you that they're just putting the right words together. That this person, actually, you can affirm that this person is making plans to see you, that this person is asking you out. You can affirm that yeah, that they're just busy with work and that this person will always get back to you as soon as possible. And again, I would, whenever anything is happening in the 3D that you do not like, the best thing you can do is first address how are you feeling. If you're super anxious, if you're crying, if you're mad, deal with that first. Like, calm down, take a nap, drink some tea, punch a pillow if you need to, and then go to living in the end and think, what do I want out of this situation? Because if I continue to focus on, like, when are they gonna message me? Like, did they message me now? Like, was that them? Then that's me again thinking as the version of you who is in waiting period, in waiting mode. So we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna manifest more waiting, right? So we're gonna assume we got the contact and that we are currently in contact. And think about it, that's like when you finally stop focusing on something that you've been waiting for, and then that's when it shows up. Why? Because you stepped into the version of you who would receive that information. Because the version of you who has that contact, they're not wondering where it is. You're just doing your own thing because you assume you already have it. You already assume that it's on the way. So that's totally okay. You know, it's normal to be like anxious or nervous. But again, that's just, you know, from those old thoughts of kind of wondering like, oh, like what happened? Where are they? But it's okay. Again, you get to create based on what you continue to persist in. So now you can live in the end of being like, oh, actually, I'm so happy that person got back to me. I'm so happy we're in contact now. I'm so happy they're making plans to see me. Like, I get to see this person all the time. Like, I get to talk to them so much that, like, I lose track of time. And that, like, I'm in this relationship with them, that they're so committed to me. I am prioritized. I am respected. You know, my time is respected. And my needs matter. Needs meaning need for communication. And I trust, like, I assume that this person values my needs. They value my happiness in this relationship. And that I'm satisfied in this relationship. That's the story you're going to tell yourself so that it manifests out there, right? You're going to start thinking about that because, again, your subconscious does not know whether that's true or false. It just knows what you're feeding it. So you get to say, you know what, we're going to think about this very positively, and your subconscious mind's going to be like, okay, that's what's going on. Okay, that's what's going to manifest now. So that's for you. So living in the end with the new story, but sometimes you forget throughout the day. That's totally okay. Like, for example, like me, I have a job, right? So it's not something that I think about all the time. I just assume that I have it. When it pops up in my mind, I think like, oh yeah, I have a job. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. Okay, I'm gonna go do something else now. Because it's so natural, it's so real in my reality. So again, you can live in the end without thinking about it 24/7, right? Because think about it. If you're in a happy, healthy, committed relationship with your specific person, you can enjoy other things because you know that this person makes an effort to spend time with you. They make an effort to contact you. So you could completely focus on whatever else it is that's going on in your life because it's natural. It's normal for you to receive time, attention, and affection from this person. So that's actually a really good thing if you're not like thinking about it every 5 seconds. right? You don't have this anxiety because this is something so normal for you to experience. So keep doing that. And when you are in that relationship with that person, you won't think about it all the time. You'll think of it often, right? Maybe every hour. I think about my person every hour. But it it depends on what thoughts are you thinking. Are you thinking like, oh wow, like I'm really happy that we're together. We have like this really solid connection and things are looking great. So again, keep telling your subconscious mind what you want it to manifest. Okay? Yeah. So I also have this really specific fear of my SP getting pregnant by a third party. Ooh. I used to have that one actually. But for me it would be like my SP. I used to have this fear that my SP would like they'd like go marry someone randomly, that they'd be like trapped in like I don't know, I just watch like too much TV or something, right? But I totally get that. It's really scary because you think like, oh, like what if they choose to go raise the baby with them, and what if they're together forever and will never be together? Or it's like, you know what I think it is. I mean, it depends on your past experiences, either with family or with relationships. But what I think it is, I think it's a fear of not being chosen or not being prioritized. And also about your needs being respected. So, for example, if you were kind of like raised to put other people's needs above your own, I think that's why that specific fear could pop up, because it's like you would think like, oh, this person has to take care of they have to take care of the baby. That's what they're gonna choose over me. It could be that. Okay, so had a similar situation, got away with other women. Oh, okay. So yeah, no, especially if you were someone who like indirectly experienced that, then I could totally see why that's an issue. But I just want you to know, just because it happened to someone does not mean it has to happen to you, okay? Don't look at statistics. Don't be like, well, there's like a 70% chance that if it happened to someone it'll happen to you. Or like, what if it's just karma? Or just what if it's like a curse or something? Just no, you get to create your reality, okay? So, how could you get over it? So, you're probably gonna like throw the phone when I say this, but I'm gonna say it again. Your job is to think like the version of you who is experiencing what you want as if it's happening right now. So, if you're living in the end, if you're with this specific person, if you are the sexiest damn thing this person has ever laid eyes on, are they even going to go near anyone else? I want your self-concept, all of you, I want your self-concept to be so high that you are literally the best that this person's ever had, that you are so attractive, you are so magnetic, this person can never get enough of you. They're not even going to look at anyone else. Think like this person has eyes for you and only you. So that would never happen if that's who you are. if that's the relationship that you're in. So if you're in the relationship with the person who has eyes for you and only you're the best that they've ever had, like you are just so freaking magnetic, seductive, and sexy to this person, it doesn't matter if a supermodel walks in. They're not gonna care because you're their person. And in affirmation, like, because you're manifesting your specific person. You don't have eyes for anyone else, right? Like, you know that this is your person. I want you to freaking believe that you are this person's person as much as they are your person, because you deserve that. You deserve to be given the love that you give tenfold. You deserve to be chosen just as much as you're choosing this person. Like, clearly you value this person. You want this person and only this person. They are so special to you. Like, why on earth would you not think that that person holds you in that same light? Like, why? Because if you're capable of having that assumption about that person, like, why are you not assuming that about yourself? That actually, like, I'm the love of this person's life. Like, they're lucky that they even met me. Like, I'm literally a blessing to this person's life. Like, I bring value to this person's life. So again, working on your self-concept, I think, in relation to that specific person, to thinking, like, I am just as amazing as they are. We totally deserve each other. There's nothing or no one that can tear us apart. And I'm always chosen above everyone and everything. Because, and then you say all those affirmations. So, I hope that helps. Okay. So, someone said, I feel like I'm moving on from my specific person, but I still want him, but I don't care anymore, and I'm starting to find others attractive now. So it sounds like you're starting to detach from not having this person. You're moving away from the version of you who's worried about being chosen, who's worried about what that person thinks of you, and thinking like the version of you who knows your worth, who knows you're very attractive, and who knows that you're a catch and that anyone would be lucky to have you. So it's especially if that specific person was reflecting like a really bad self-concept, as in they were hot and cold, non-committal. It's normal for you to like not feel attracted to that, because now that you have more positive assumptions about yourself, you're not going to allow that kind of behavior. Like, that kind of behavior isn't even going to happen to you, because you know your worth now. You know that you are respected. You know that you deserve the dates, the commitment, the that attention. You deserve like that time and effort now. So that could be why you're like, I don't want someone like that old version. But, you know, it's completely up to you. If you still feel like that is your person, you can 100% manifest them. And again, if you would like to, you can also change your perception of them, because you could have a high self-concept, but if you have like a ton of negative assumptions about that person, that they would never choose you, that they're always like doing something else, that they don't give you the time of day, guess what? That will manifest. If with that person, if you don't see yourself as important to that person, if you don't see yourself as being chosen by that person, that will manifest. So it's completely up to you whether you want to create that new version of that person who reflects your new self-concept, because if you've changed you, you're not going to attract that old version anymore. So you can create positive assumptions about that person from the point of view of your current self-concept that you've worked on. That's much better. So someone said that they have a new SP, but you don't know each other. Well, with any SP, there's a point in your life where you had never met them before, right? So, again, just think like the version of you who is experiencing what you want. Don't worry about the when, the how. Like, this person could show up at, I don't know, the same grocery store you're shopping in. They could follow you on Instagram. And just know you don't have to do a single thing to get their attention. So don't try to get their attention, because does the version of you who has their attention need to do anything to get it? No. So it's up to you. If you don't know each other, then I don't know if you want to go like straight to a committed relationship. You can just affirm that you're going out with this person, affirm that this person asked you out, or you could affirm that you're spending time with this person, going on dates. And really, it's up to you to create the relationship that you desire. You can affirm that this person shows up as your desired romantic partner. You can do that, right? Because if you know, okay, I want to be taken out on dates, I want phone calls every night, blah, 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 you can affirm that this person treats you the way that you desire. And if you live in the end of that, then the 3D out there will figure itself out to match your inner dominant thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions about that person. So you get to create this experience, what you want out of it. It's completely up to you. Okay, so someone asked about negative thoughts. Do they manifest? So, your subconscious mind does not know whether a thought is positive or negative. It knows what you are telling it repeatedly, or what you are telling it with feeling, whether that's happy, sad, angry. Because it's a matter of whether that's real, about whether you are assuming that to be true for you, regardless of whether it's positive or negative. So it depends on what you are telling your subconscious mind, because if you tell your subconscious mind, my person is ignoring me versus my person is head over heels in love with me, you know, clearly one's negative, one's positive, because our conscious mind is thinking about like, oh, what do I want? What would I like? But the subconscious mind doesn't know that. It's not going to pick one over the other based on what you tell it. It's whatever you repeatedly tell it, or tell it with the feeling of realness, either imagining this vividly, or like writing this out, or for example, telling another person the experience that's happening to you, right? That's just continuing to impress upon your subconscious mind. So it doesn't know that like, oh, this is like a very positive thought, this is very negative. No, it just knows what you're telling it. So another person said Oh, okay. So again, on random thoughts, random negative thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the conscious being who produces your thoughts, right? You're not just like a mindless machine that has like random thoughts. So, if you are the conscious creator behind those thoughts, if a negative thought pops up, you can either hop on the negativity train and like totally spiral and think about like every negative situation related to that thought, or you can say like that would never happen, like that's false, like that's like no, like this is what's true, this is what I assume to be real, so I'm just going to disregard that thought and let it go. That's not going to manifest just because you had that thought pop up. Because you are the creator, you get to decide what you get to focus on, what you persist in, assuming. Oh, okay. So, if you have any repetitive negative thoughts, especially if it's about like a specific situation, a specific fear, like we were talking about earlier, this might blow your mind. Okay, that's a manifestation of a limiting belief, and I'll give you an example. So let's say someone has a belief, that a core belief, right, that was like embedded in their brain from like childhood, or just like some situation where they just felt that like overwhelming sensation that, oh, like this is my reality, this is my truth. For example, not being good enough, not being chosen. That's going to manifest into thoughts such as, what is my person doing? I need to check their social media. Are they talking to someone else? Are they cheating on me? Those thoughts are a manifestation of like that one limiting belief, right? Or like for people who manifest getting cheated on, it could be a limiting belief that either I'm not chosen, or it could be about other people specifically, that like oh, men cheat, for example. If someone grew up seeing that and they have that assumption, oh, it's very likely that someone in a relationship like that, they're gonna cheat, that happens. So because they have that assumption, they're perceiving whatever's happening out there from that assumption. So if their person's taking longer to respond, they're going to assume that negatively based on the current limiting belief that they have. So circling back to what you're saying, if you have a repetitive negative circumstance, it's up to you to reflect on that circumstance and think, like, if that were true, if that were to happen, like, what would that version of myself believe? So for example, the cheating one, if that were true, that would be not being chosen, not being prioritized, not being good enough. That's like a very like core belief that like a lot of people struggle with. Like, that person's leaving because something's wrong with you. You're not good enough. So, yeah. So instead of affirming against the thought, affirm against the belief that is producing that fearful thought. Because if you're the version of you who knows that you're going to have a positive experience with whatever happens between you and that person, that everything is going to work out between you and that person regardless of whatever temporary obstacles happen in the 3D, then you're not going to get triggered. Well, I mean, it's very human, normal to still get triggered, but you're not going to like completely spiral out of control. So again, just like write it out and think, like, why does this bother me so much? Like, why is this such a big fear of mine? Like, and think about it. It's not necessarily the circumstance itself. It's about how that circumstance makes you feel. That's why it's so scary, because of how it would make you feel about yourself. So it could be maybe like a deep fear of not being good enough. Because I mean, that manifests in so many ways. That manifests as people pleasing, as not expecting your needs to be met, or just expecting to be forgotten or like tossed aside. So yeah. So again, like, don't give yourself a headache affirming against it, because obviously there's something going on with our self-concept. And the way to reverse engineer it is say, if that were true, how would that make me feel? And then affirm against those feelings. Tell yourself, and I strongly recommend mirror affirmations. So like, hold up a mirror to your face and tell yourself, I am good enough. I am more than good enough. I am always more than good enough. Like, I will always be more than good enough. I have always been good enough. It's normal for things to work out in my favor. That is literally one of the most powerful affirmations. It's normal for things to work out in my favor, especially for people who are scared of things going wrong, of thinking like, oh, like, I have bad luck, or like, what else could go wrong. For anyone with catastrophic or very anxious thinking, if you affirm that every day, that everything always works out in your favor, and that it's normal that you assume that will literally take off that weight of impending doom off of your shoulders. You won't have to worry about how. You don't have to worry about when. You don't have to worry about fixing things, if that is embedded in your self-concept. And you could just do that through repetition. Write it down, say it in the mirror, say it in the morning, say it at night. And a powerful way to do that is, and again, I want to circle back to that repetitive negative circumstance. Do you feel anxious when you think about that situation? Like, do you feel that either sadness, anger? Do you feel isolated? Think about it. When that negative circumstance pops up, since you mentioned that it's repeating, what are you feeling in that moment? Because your subconscious does not know whether that's real or imagined. When that pops up, it's like that's continuing to take place in your subconscious, and it's producing these feelings of anxiety. So depending on how strong the emotion is, I would recommend first calming your nervous system, right? Like, don't go trying to affirm if you're having a panic attack. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I just saw some more comments. Oh, okay, the old version of SP. Okay, I know that's very scary, especially since you heard those words spoken to you, because your subconscious mind, when you remember that situation, it's as if you're reliving that moment. That's why you feel that anxiety, because every time you hear what that person said, you imagine like their face saying that to you. You imagine being in that moment. It's like continuing to show up. It's like continuing to manifest as like not being together with this person. So, for you specifically, what you can do is revision. Sometimes this is the turning point for people. So, because your subconscious mind does not know what happened like 10 years ago versus what happened like now, it just knows like what's continuing to happen in the present. You can imagine your specific person telling you that, like, whatever it is you wished that they would have said. If you loop that, that's what's going to become dominant in your subconscious mind, and you're not going to have that fear anymore. Because if you have that assumption that that person told you something that you wanted to hear, you're not going to worry about being chosen. You're not going to worry about that fear about, like the pregnancy and the third party, because you have a belief, you have an assumption about what you experienced with that person. And if you imagine things as if they happened the way you wanted it to happen, it's like rewiring that event in your subconscious mind. And that will no longer repeat, because remember, you are the conscious creator of your thoughts. You get to decide what thoughts you get to focus on. So, because that situation happened and that's like your default, and because it produces such a strong emotion, your subconscious mind is like, this is what happened. This person said this, and this, and you're going to keep remembering it because this produced such a strong feeling. You felt the realness of that fear. That's something like very real that happened, and you're just going to keep thinking about it. But it's up to you. Especially if this keeps popping up, like, just try it. Just try revising. Imagine, how would you feel if that person did not say that? If they said instead that you are their person, and whether you want a family with this person or whether like you don't want kids, just think about them saying that to you. And let yourself feel that relief, and tell yourself that whenever that pops up in your mind, or even better, when you're in a relaxed state. Whether that's before you go to sleep, if you do any sort of meditation. And that will manifest, because that could be, if you have that fear, like, oh, maybe this person doesn't want me. Maybe they want someone else. Maybe they want a different life that's not compatible with my values, with my needs. That could manifest as them not knowing what they want, or just being like very in and out. So just think as if it happened the way you wanted it to. Try that for at least 21 days. And let us know what happens, because revision is very real. I haven't used it too much personally, but I've seen with other people, like, their specific person will come back to them, and the specific person won't even remember what they said in the past. Like, that's how real it is, because if your thoughts are creating and you're manifesting that version of you, or that version of your specific person who said what you wanted, they're going to show up as that new version. So it's like changing your assumption about your person to where they would never say those negative words. And actually, what they said, I want that to be the last time you repeat that old story. Because that's not true. That's not the reality that you're creating. And like, this person is like very happy to date you now. And if you can hear that person's voice, if you could imagine them telling that to you, then continue to like hear that in your mind. If you can't hear their voice, or if you have a hard time visualizing, that's okay. You could just say it out loud. Like, I remember when my person told me that I'm the only person that they want to be with. I remember when my specific person told me that I'm the only person they want a family with, or no kids, you know, if you don't want kids, like, it's up to you. And repeat that on loop. And that will manifest. That will impress on your subconscious mind to the point where that old circumstance doesn't exist, because that happened in the past. It only exists when you remember that it happened. I will say that again. That old circumstance, those harsh words your person said to you, they only exist when you remember that that happened. So, you can choose to think that things happen the way that you want, and that will literally rewire your subconscious mind. So, I think that's what I want to say for that. So someone said that they write down affirmations a few times a day. Hold on. Whenever they feel... Oh, do I need to show you my 5 journals? You think that's too much? Let me... Where is it? I'm gonna show you my freaking... Where is it? Is it this one? Oh yeah, do I need to show you like all the freaking like journals? This is just one too. I have like other ones. Like, personally, scripting has manifested so much in my reality. I think because it's easy for me to think it real, to think like I'm writing this because this is happening to me right now. And I'm also a reader, tarot reader, and I like to like read books, so it's easy for me to imagine, right? So if you can do that, if you could write things and feel like it's happening right now, if you could imagine that, because as Neville Goddard said, you know, your imagination is that creates. What are you telling your subconscious mind that's happening right now? What are you imagining to be true for you? So that's not too much. Like, why would that be too much, especially if it's the favorable story, right? So, okay. I feel like whenever I try to visualize, I imagine a whole new memory when we're supposed to loop it. So, you can do either or. If you like to keep it fresh, right? Have a new episode of what you're imagining with your SP, because remember, to your subconscious mind, it doesn't know whether you're imagining that or whether it's real. And especially if you're indulging in like imagining you're on a romantic beach day with your specific person, you're going to feel feelings, right? You're going to feel that like romance, that love, because to your subconscious mind, that's happening. So that's why it's producing the feelings as if it's happening right now. So as long as the new memory pertains to what you want to create. So for example, whatever you're imagining, as long as that's something that the version of you who has what you want would experience, then that's good. So let's say you're manifesting your specific person. As long as they're like with you in that, they're either telling you they love you, you're either imagining being in their arms, you're either imagining them like giving you flowers. It's okay to keep it fresh. You could create a new episode every time you think about it. You don't have to just do like the same one over and over again. So That one's a personal choice. You're welcome. So when you remember, do you just say the affirmation? You have a journal drawer? Yeah. No, I have a journal in the back of my closet. I had to throw it back there because my old specific person, they like came to my home and I had it. I just like chucked it in the back of the closet. I have to find it. It's just like filled out. Yeah. Thanks. Do you script like you're in the Okay. So no, for real. No, that specific person, they okay, so right now I'm manifesting. I'll give you guys the tea. I'm manifesting my fourth specific person. The first one was a boyfriend. The first one I manifested a proposal. The third one, that's the one I had to throw the journal in the back of the closet. They're like they're still trying to be up in my energy, you know, because of my self-concept, but that one was more of like I just wanted to experiment, like them taking me to a specific place, them wearing a certain like shirt color, like their least favorite color. Like I would literally do that, you guys. Like this is supposed to be fun. And then now I feel like I'm ready to manifest like marriage. So right now I'm manifesting specific person number 4, right? So I've been getting so many birds before lands too. I'll just share a little bit. I recently manifested someone who looks similar to them. Same exact height, same skin color, same hair color, not the same name, same zodiac sign, same hobbies, same interests. Like it was very freaky, right? And I saw a restaurant. I got an ad with my specific person's name, and it's funny because 1, their name is not common, and 2, the restaurant's nowhere near me, so I'm like, why am I getting this ad? So so that's where I'm at. Oh, okay, why okay, that's a great question. Why did I not manifest my first SP to be the version that I want? So because I just wanted a boyfriend. Like I'm pretty young, so like I didn't want to get married yet. So I was like, I just want a boyfriend who I could like go on dates with. So that's why I was like, I don't want to marry him, you know. But now, like, I feel like okay, like I want to be married. So I know that sounds terrible, but so okay, right now, specific person number 4. That's not it's not a new person, but it's also not an ex. But we've been in contact for all of the like throughout all of those other people. And like I kind of knew like this is the person that I want to be with, but I just wasn't I wanted to focus on my manifestation coaching, like my other things that I do. So I was like, I'm just going to put that on the back burner until I feel like ready for that like lifelong commitment. And now I do. So technically the person I'm manifesting right now is my original specific person, meaning the person I met before I knew anything about law of attraction or law of assumption. Right? And like the version that I'm getting of this person, it's just like it's so beautiful and it's so worth it, even though like technically I have years of the old story with this person and I manifested other people. So when I manifested the other people, it's like I didn't know that that karma was like not a thing. So I was like worried about manifesting my original person, if that makes sense. But now that I know that I don't have to worry about that, like nothing bad is going to happen. And now that in my self concept, I know that like I deserve to have the relationship that I want. It's like now this person is starting to reflect that, and they're like showing up as that version I always knew that they would be. It was just my old self concept getting in the way. My old self concept meaning I didn't even know what an affirmation was. That's how old that was. So yeah. Um but like it's okay with the other people, like I affirm that they're happy, right? That like they're good. They're good. They're chill. So it's okay. It was an experience, right? And also, honestly, I feel like the reason why now I'm like I'm so confident with manifesting my specific person is because I manifested exactly what I wanted with those other people. Whether it was just the relationship, right, with someone who was like non-committal, like I worked with them and then like we were officially together. And then another person who I was like, I haven't seen this person in forever. I'm going to manifest that they want to propose to me. And then like it was like a weird mix of events where I kept running into them and then they asked me out, and then things proceeded and they proposed. But it's because I experimented with manifesting that that like solidified my self-concept, and that's why I know that this is true. I can easily make those assumptions because I experimented and I had fun with it, right? I manifested someone like getting a car in the color that they hate, like just like weird things. Okay. So let me see any other questions. Scripting. So scripting, you can either just write, I am loved. I am in a committed relationship with my person. My person is head over heels in love with me. Or you could write it in a story format. So for example, like I had an amazing day with my specific person today. My specific person took me out on a fun romantic date. Like we connected so well today. And honestly, I feel like that helps with feeling it real, with imagining it, with really impressing upon your subconscious mind as if you're remembering an event. Because your subconscious mind doesn't know that you're remembering something. It thinks that this is happening to you right now. For example, when you watch a scary movie, you feel that anxiety because you're like really focused on that scary thing happening right now. And your subconscious mind, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to produce the feelings of anxiety, fear. So you could just list your affirmations, or like my personal recommendation is to write it in a way that feels natural to you. Something that I've done that's been really helpful is writing to my specific person and saying, like, dear specific person, I am so grateful for our relationship and how blessed we are together. And I really value the depth of our connection and how I am your person just as much as you are my person. So that's very powerful. Especially if you have an old story with your specific person. Instead, if you're like speaking to that person as if they are showing up as the ideal version, it's very powerful. Someone asked, do I listen to sleep tapes? So, I have a couple of them. I kid you not, I'm gonna share one of these days once I receive like my full manifestation. I'm around like 200 to 300 views on the affirmation track that I listen to. I listen to it every night, and whenever I'm doing a repetitive activity like walking or cleaning. So yes, because that's going to your subconscious mind. Where did this mosquito come from? Like, seriously, it's driving me nuts. I just want to like whack it. Did it fall? That's so weird. I went like that and then it fell, but I didn't touch it. That's freaky. Okay, back to the question. Yes, because you can reprogram your subconscious mind by listening to sleep tapes, because your conscious mind isn't really in the way, right? You're not like thinking like, oh, but what is that really true? Would that really happen? Especially when your specific person did this and said that. No, especially if you're sleeping. And I do want to mention, this does not happen to everyone. It can happen, but if you have nightmares when you're listening to a sleep tape, do not worry about it. That's just your brain trying to process the new information. And also, your subconscious mind, it wants to protect you with what's familiar, with what you currently perceive to be true. So that's why it takes time to reprogram your subconscious mind. So if you're listening to love affirmations and you have a terrible nightmare, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It's just your brain, like, processing the old beliefs and getting that out of the system, so that way the new beliefs can settle in. But I highly, highly recommend that, because you don't have to do anything. You just get to relax, and then you wake up with these new positive assumptions. So can you explain what scripting looks like again? Yes, so scripting, you just write down what you want to experience as if it's happening right now. And you can do that by listing your affirmations. I am loved, I am wanted, I am always prioritized. You can write it out as a story. So instead of writing I am prioritized, you can write out, my specific person took me out today. They were really thoughtful and considerate. They were really like sweet and romantic. Whatever it is that helps you imagine the situation in a way that just feels natural, right? Because you're creating with your imagination, with what you perceive to be true. So again, scripting, it's just a tool. You don't have to do it. You can, if that helps you to be in the state of experiencing what you want as if it's happening right now. Okay, do you have any tips on when you're doubting? My go-to is manifest something just for funsies. Manifest that someone that you haven't seen, that they're asking you to go with them to the beach, for example. Manifest that you see a butterfly, right? Just work. If you're doubting, that's coming from either a fear of not getting what you want, a fear of not being good enough, a fear of messing it up, a fear of not being powerful. It's just coming from fear. So whatever it is you can do, you can affirm that my affirmations always manifest. I always manifest what I want. No matter what, I am always manifesting what I want, even when I don't have evidence. because you're manifesting based on your self-concept. It's not like what's happening out there is determining what's happening to you. So for example, it's not like your specific person is ignoring you because they want to do that. Like, they want to hurt you. They want you to feel like you're not important. No, they're just doing that because whatever it is with your self-concept or your conception of them, it's something that is leading to that behavior. That could be just an assumption that that person never messages you. It could be an assumption that you're always left on read. Some people, and I see this more in just like dating, like the dating advice coaching area, people getting ghosted over and over and over again. And these people will literally make videos like, I just, like, story time, I just got ghosted again, like, how many times is this gonna happen? This always happens. Guess what? That's the story that they keep telling. That's gonna continue to manifest, not because they deserve it. No one deserves that. It's just, if that's what they assume to be true about themselves in relation to dating, unfortunately, that's what's going to continue to show up. So, doubting, ask yourself what specifically you're doubting and what it is that you're feeling. Are you feeling scared? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling insecure? Because that's just coming from a self-concept issue. But if you ask yourself, do I feel out of control? Do I feel powerless? How do I step into the version of myself who is confident in my power, in my ability to create? And that could be manifesting things for funsies in combination with affirming for your self-concept, specifically when it comes to manifestation. Okay. I know I manifested the most. You know what? I did manifest the mosquito because I was really pestered about a fly I saw earlier. And I was also watching this video with someone. They were like, oh, you know how flies do that thing where they're like, ee? And I kept doing that. So that's why I manifested the mosquito, because I never see mosquitoes in here. That's why it happened. Because I kept watching that video. I kept like visualizing that, and I kept doing the stupid mosquito like, ee. So that's an example of of what you focus on, what you create in your imagination. And I kept visualizing them. I did it to myself. There you go. Okay, someone said I'm sorry, I had too many cookies. I'm just like, it's Friday. Okay, it's Friday. What do you think it means when you see / hear your specific person's name everywhere or see their birthday number? It's just birds before land. It's what birds before land comes from is when people would be like sailing on their boats to try to find land. You see the birds before you see the island, before you see the land. So with manifesting, the island is your manifestation and the birds are, for example, your person's name or their birthday number. That just means it's on the way, that there's movement happening. But I would like to mention there are people who have manifested their specific person with 0 evidence in the 3D. So do not be dependent on signs. Don't look for signs, because your job is to imagine that you have what you want as if it's happening right now, as if it's true for you, as if it's done. Okay.